Hey guys, so I recently did a video on, Are You Okay Day, and my thoughts around that, around how I feel like, you know, just asking, are you okay? And whether that's really what we need, and is there a lot more to that? And essentially, I kind of wanted to go a little bit further into that and talk about the difference between having support in our life and feeling supported in our life. And I feel like there's a big difference between the two. For starters, having support in our life can look so many different ways. And for most of us, we do have support in our life. And that might come down to existing friends and family who are present, they're there. We know that they would do anything for us. Financially, they may support us. We might feel like if we were ever in, danger or strife, or, they'd be there, and we know that they would have our back in that sense. It could be friends who we know that we always see them, and, we know we have these people. And this is kind of like we have this support, but somehow, even though we have this support, we're still going at life alone. We still don't really feel supported. We don't feel safe in these spaces. We don't feel seen in these spaces. We don't feel heard. We don't feel truly supported. And deep down, there's this sense of like we still don't feel like we get what we need from these spaces. And, this might be feeling like we can't really properly be ourselves around these people. We can't fully be ourselves. We can't talk freely. We might find that if we do share, we are subject to people's unsolicited opinions or advice, or it turns into an argument, or there's conflict, or we upset them, or, our words become, they're not just our words anymore. They become, we've upset someone, we're all of a sudden fending off advice, or, being told just get on with it, or, we're being invalidated for our feelings. And most of the time when we experience this sort of response to our thoughts and feelings, it's more stress than it's more stressful than not sharing. So we just decide to keep it all to ourselves, because a lot of the time that just feels awful. And then, next time we're sort of like on edge, we're already thinking 3 steps ahead. Will I say that? Will I not? How are they going to take that? And, we either end up keeping the peace and not saying anything at all, or, we're kind of being really we calculate what we say, because we're just like, how are they going to take it? And most of the time we end up just keeping everything to ourselves, because it's more stress. We end up feeling like, if we do share our thoughts, that it's made into a bigger deal than it needs to be, and everything like that. So we actually just end up keeping everything to ourselves, going at it alone. And the thing is that we feel lonely, because we don't feel supported. And this is where there is that difference, where we can have a million people around us, but if we don't feel understood, heard, seen, like we can just fully be ourselves and it not be a big deal, then we don't feel truly supported. We don't feel connected. We feel disconnected, and we feel alone, even though we have these people around us. So I guess the biggest difference, and the thing that I especially noticed in my life was, I feel like I lived the majority of my life up until maybe about 24, 25, just being walls up, lone wolf island life, didn't trust anyone, didn't feel like, I was peacekeeper, would rather just not say not really fully, like, felt like I couldn't be myself. Otherwise there would be conflict. Like, I was so used to not being able to speak without it becoming something stressful. And for me, that became just handling everything on my own and having my walls up and not letting anyone in. And the thing is, there became a point in my life where I realized that that was blocking my growth. It was blocking where I could go, how I could be a better version of me, how I could excel. And I really started to see it as a barrier at a point, because I had my walls up for good reason. For good reason. We do it for good reason, because it's a lot of stress and we realize that that's not helping us. But at a certain point, we realize, hang on, I do feel disconnected. I do feel alone. There's things I want to achieve where I actually can't do that on my own. And I need that support, but I need the right support. I need to feel supported. And I think after having years and years and years of unhealthy relationships where I didn't feel that way and I felt alone, within, even though I had that support, it became about recognizing what it means to feel truly supported. And sometimes we don't have this space. Sometimes we haven't met these people that can meet us in that way. And when we do, we finally feel a sense of liberation. But also, it's that when we can find people like that who see us in a different way, it allows us to see ourselves in a different way. And when we have that kind of support, it is completely different. We feel differently. And this kind of happens when we have mutual understanding, mutual respect, where we can simply be ourselves in that relationship. We feel free to be ourselves. We feel like I can say what I need to say and what I want to say, and it's not going to be taken personally. This person's not going to give me advice. This person is just trusting that I can live my own life. I'm my own separate individual. I have power to choose and decide, and I know what's best for me, but they're not going to try and tell me what to do. They're just there to listen and ask me questions and allow me to get clarity and champion things that I want to do, instead of like judge it or laugh at it or question it or, project their own fear onto it. And it becomes this space for amazing growth when you can speak freely and talk about whatever's going on in your mind without that fear and stress and everything of how this is going to turn out. And it actually allows you to connect so much more deeply with yourself and others when you have that space. And at the end of the day, we just want someone to listen. We just want to be heard, and we just want to feel okay and safe with just being ourselves. That's all we really want. We don't, even if we have an issue or a problem, it doesn't mean that there's something wrong with us or that we need help. It doesn't mean we need someone to jump to our rescue. Sometimes we just want the person to listen, and that's what makes us not feel alone. We feel supported just because they're there and they're listening to it. We don't need an action. And I think this is the issue, is that in society we're very much like, check on your mates and support people, and it's like this doing, this action, and it's all about we've got to give and do more, and we're all focused on everyone else except ourselves. And this is the problem, because most of the time we don't want other people to be focused on us in that way. It's like, I want you to listen and hold space for me, but I don't need you to do anything. I don't need you to take an action on my life. And really all that does is it makes us feel like we're losing control of our own life. And in a way, our power has been taken away from us because you're trying to do and trying to fix and trying to take on my things, and you don't need to do that. So this is the real difference between having a lot of support but then feeling supported, and they're two very different things. And sadly, a lot of us don't have a lot of those spaces where we feel supported. And the truth is, often these relationships where we feel supported, they're not actually our existing friendships, they're not our family. And that's okay. That's okay, because we just need to know that this doesn't mean we have to go at it alone. This means that we have to seek the right people for us, the right people who are going to see us for us and give us that space, and not have a personal kind of involvement in it, or be taking it personally, or judging us because they've always known us or seen us in a way. It stifles our growth. We can't evolve and grow and change when people are fixated on an idea of how we've been in their mind. So it's okay if you don't have these relationships in your existing friendships or your family. It's just about knowing that they do exist, and we do deserve that, and we all need that. We all need that true connection where we feel understood and seen and heard. And when we realize that, when we have that, the potential for growth and the ability to really step into who we are and be able to speak our truth, and just, again, for it not to be a big deal, for us to just be who we are and it not be a big deal. And it's so freeing. It's not a stressful space, and there's so much that can be gained from allowing ourselves to open up to those potential relationships. And for myself, everything has shifted for me when I have found the right people, the people that give me that space and allow me to be me. And it's when you have that, and it's just easy, and it's not stressful, and it's not a focus on doing anything. So much can come from that. So much growth can come from that. And yeah, we don't need a million of these people. We don't need heaps of people. We just need the right people. And that takes just being open to it, knowing what we need. And we need that support. We don't really need tons of, are you okay? Are you okay? You know, like the sympathy and the questions, that it's not always helpful. It's not always helpful. And a lot of the time it just comes down to an understanding that this idea of helping others and supporting others, and we don't need to do anything for anyone else. The way that we help everyone else is helping ourselves, sitting with ourselves, learning about ourselves, sitting with our own pain and sitting with our discomfort, and getting to know ourselves allows us to support other people. We naturally can hold a space for other people when we can hold a space for ourselves. So there's that aspect too, of a lot of the time when existing friends or family, it doesn't feel like a safe space, or it feels stressful. It's often that we're kind of all in that boat where we're not sitting with ourselves enough. We're not kind of holding space for ourselves enough to know that we don't need to do anything for our loved ones. We don't need to do anything for our friends other than to just let them have the power to deal with their own life and make their own choices. And we don't need to do anything, but just being there to listen can be amazing. And championing each other to do and follow our wacky ideas and dreams, and just backing people no matter what. That's all we really need, and that's what makes us feel connected. That's what makes us not feel alone. That's what makes us be able to capitalize on our own unique creations and step into our potential and really do what we came here to do. Because when we don't have people in our corner doing that, and we have people projecting their fears, we get doubtful. We can't follow our intuition. We feel scared to follow those hunches. But when we have people supporting us, it makes it feel like anything is possible. And this is how our relationship should feel. Having that support allows us to really step into what we're capable of. And yeah, I just wanted to share that because I feel like so many of us, we do have support around us, and it feels conflicting that I've got this support, but I don't feel supported. I don't feel connected. I don't feel, but I have the support. And this is a big thing. I think we just need to recognize that sometimes we need to expand our environment, expand who we spend our time with, and open up to different spaces, to different people, to different objective parties where we may get that fresh perspective, safe space, something a little different than we're used to. And it just means recognizing our environment can expand, and that's where we'll find those relationships. Anyway, I'll leave it there. Gosh, 16 minutes. I do apologize. But yeah, if you want to chat about anything I've talked about, then please do hit me up. Happy to chat about anything. My door's always open. Bye.